Hello everyone, and welcome to another college football preview. So in this one we will be looking at the Indiana Hoosiers. The Hoosiers are trying to find back the magic they had in 2019 and 2020, as in both those seasons they went in 2019 they finished at 8-5, 8-4 in the regular season, and then in 2020 obviously they were 6-1 in the regular season, obviously losing out in kind of that weird situation where the Big Ten changed the rules on them last second, for the Big Ten championship, which again, they had the or Ohio State won the head-to-head, so I think, in my opinion, I get why they did it. But at the same point, I always have gotten why IU fans get very upset about that, because in the theory, the Big Ten said, oh, wait a second, we can't have our conference champion not be in, our best team, lose a playoff spot because they didn't play in the conference championship game. So I get that. I get both sides of that. I mean, it's disappointing that they changed the rules, but anyway, that's not this video. This video, we're going to be talking about them this year, the IU Hoosiers this year. So obviously in the offseason, they hired Curt Cignetti after firing Coach Allen. Obviously that was kind of a thing that was coming. They had not played well the last 3 years, and yeah, finally it was time for a change. Unfortunately, it was one of those things where those 2 seasons they had with him were great, but then after that, just nothing happened. 2-10, and then obviously last year they were 3-9. So it's just not very good. But anyway, let's now look at the key again. Oh wait, let's look at Coach Cignetti. I almost messed up. But anyway, Coach Cignetti, he had a great 2 seasons at James Madison. In terms of, that's when they entered the FBS level. So we'll kind of look at that. He went 19-4. Again, last year, obviously there was that drama with would they get a bowl game. They obviously did. They ended up losing it, but hey, either way. But let's now look at the Hoosiers' top players and projections for both offense and defense. Curtis Rourke is their projected starter at quarterback. He is a transfer from Ohio, where he played great, earning MAC MVP honors in 2022. And then last year, he had a completion percentage of 63.5. He threw for 2,207 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. He also added 219 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground. At running back, Kalen Black and Justice Eliason are their projected top 2 backs. Black had followed Coach Cignetti from James Madison. He had 142 carries for 637 yards and a touchdown last season. Meanwhile, Eliason is a transfer from Wake Forest. Last year, he had 120 carries for 548 yards and a touchdown as well. At wide receiver, Miles Price, Elijah Surratt, and Devon McCulley are their projected top 3 guys. Miles Price had 43 receptions for 410 yards and 5 touchdowns at Texas Tech last year. Surratt followed Coach Cignetti as well from James Madison. Last year he was first team All Sun Belt, so he had a really great season with 82 receptions for 1,191 yards and 8 touchdowns. Meanwhile, McCulley led IU last year with 48 receptions for 644 yards and 6 touchdowns. At tight end, Zach Horton, who is another transfer that came from James Madison, he had an effective year last year, having 27 receptions for 275 yards and 6 touchdowns. On offense, the Hoosiers are projected to score 30 points a game and gain about 400.7 yards of total offense. On defense, Jackson Magnum Farrar is their leading returning tackler. Lennon Carr is their top returning player, their top returning sack guy, I guess you call it. He had 3.5 sacks last year. Josh Cignetti leads returning players with 2 interceptions from last year as well. The Hoosiers on defense are projected to give up about 23.8 points and 335.1 yards of total offense a game. So kind of middle of the road, not too bad. But yeah. Anyway, now let's look at their schedule. So IU has kind of a middle of the pack schedule. It's ranked 68th in terms of difficulty. So again, basically dead on middle of the road. They have some tough ones, but then they also have some easier non-conference opponents. So the path to 6 wins is definitely there. But anyway, let's look at it. So in week 1, they start the season at home against Florida International on August 31st. Then on September 7th, they play their FCS opponent, the Western Illinois Leathernecks. On September 14th, well, they finally head to the Rose Bowl. About time. Took them how many years? I'm a Purdue fan. I have to make that joke. Obviously, they played in the Rose Bowl in 1968. That was the last time they would have played there. So yeah. But either way, hey, for all IU fans, just so I can burn myself there, the game that IU clinched that Rose Bowl was against number 3 Purdue, beating them. So, hey, either way. But anyway, now let's go back to this year, as, they play UCLA in their first ever matchup with the Bruins. Again, they haven't played them either in the Big Ten or at all. which is why it was easy to know that they hadn't played in the Rose Bowl since then. But either way, then the Hoosiers come back on September 21st to wrap up their non-conference slate against Charlotte. Then they stay at home to take on Maryland on September 28th before a trip to Evanston on October 5th to face the Northwestern Wildcats. Then they get a week off before hosting Nebraska on October 19th. The next week, they get to host the Washington in their first matchup against the Huskies since 2003, and Washington actually won that game 38-13. On November 2nd, they travel up to East Lansing to play against Michigan State. And then they get on November 9th, they keep with the Michigan theme, but they get it at Bloomington this time as they play the defending champion Michigan Wolverines. After their second bye, they travel to the Horseshoe to take on Ohio State. So yeah, again, they have some easy parts of their schedule, but then they have this where they have to play Michigan and then Ohio State. I mean, they have a bye in there, but that's still two tough games right in a row. But then they get to end the regular season at home against Purdue, where they look to try to reclaim the old Oak and Bucket. That'd be their first win in this series since 2019. Obviously, the game was not contested in 2020 due to both teams having COVID issues that year. Probably IU would have won it, but either way, yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.